Hello. So I was trying to do this on Facebook, and for whatever reason, Facebook is not cooperating. I did do it on Instagram, but I figured just be easier for me to come on here and shoot a quick video, put it on YouTube, and then send it back out to you guys. So this is my weekly spirit boost, a day delayed, because we had a fire in our barn over on 4th of July. And so it has just been a crazy week, and I wasn't able to get live yesterday, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna go live today. And then of course the Facebook was not cooperating. So here is the story, and again I'm gonna get this on YouTube and then out to you guys who are on my list. So basically the universe continues to put things in my path that I can teach other people, and this time it happens to be a barn fire. So what happened was we had a party here on 4th of July, just like maybe 20 people or so. And we had some fireworks. Now it wasn't like a whole big firework display or anything like that. It wasn't even dark out yet at this point. But I was in the house, my husband was in the house. Somehow a firework was set off, and instead of shooting up, it shot forward and made it through 2 fences and the barn door. So where our barn, basically we have 4 goats in our barn and 2 barn cats that we feed that live upstairs. And the barn is about, say, 500 feet from the house, maybe less. And the fireworks shot through 2 fences and into the barn door and into a very large pile of hay that we feed the goats, which is kindling basically. So it ignited, and I was in the house and my husband was in the house, and somebody came running in and was yelling, get Ryan, my husband, there's a fire in the barn. So I start screaming because my husband had gone downstairs in the basement to get something. He comes running up with a fire extinguisher and runs out of the house. Now I'm running after him, and everybody's running to the barn, because in my head I'm going, oh my God, we have animals, where's the fire, what's going on, how did this even happen? So my stepson and his friend who were here went into the other part of the barn, thank God they're okay, but immediately ran into the other part of the barn where there was no fire, just to at least get the goats out, because we had 3 out of our 4 goats were there. One of them was in an animal hospital because he had to have surgery. So he got the goats out, and my husband ran into where the fire was and started scooping with like a shovel or a pick or something, something, shoveling the fire hay out the door so it got out of the barn. And we also have goats, right? So we have a huge like trough of water. So he threw a bucket out, and there were a bunch of people at the house, and they all, ran to help. And they were basically taking these buckets and putting them into the trough water and throwing these buckets of water onto the hay that was being thrown out of the barn. But there was smoke, and it was a mess. And all I kept thinking is, oh my gosh, I bet you the cats are upstairs. So I am freaking out about the cats, right? Luckily, they got it under control. We had the fire out before the police or the fire department even arrived, which is lucky, because the flames it's hay, so it ignited. The flames were hitting the barn ceiling. And they were able to get it, a bunch of guys were here, and they were able to get it under control. But I just kept going, oh my God, the cats are upstairs, and the smoke rises, and there's smoke up there, and oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So I'm not even thinking straight, and I'm like ready to run into the barn, and my husband's like, get out of here. So he ran up the stairs of the barn, and luckily all of the doors and everything, like we have garage doors on one side, everything was open. Everything was wide open except for one door upstairs. So my husband ran up, and he said the smoke was so bad he thought that the door at the far end was shut because he couldn't even see with the smoke. But he ran into the one end that he knew the door was closed, kicked the door open, and then ran back downstairs, but just to try and air it out even faster. But he couldn't see anything, so he couldn't see the cat, so he came downstairs. Now I'm worried about him and smoke inhalation, right? So I'm just like, the cats, oh my God, do you think they made it? Do you think they're okay? You know, everything was open. Maybe the smoke didn't, you know, get in there and stay, and maybe it dissipated quickly, and that's all I kept thinking about. And then I was worried about my husband with the smoke inhalation. And then the police came, and the fire department came, and I made my husband get checked by an EMT, because I kept thinking, like, you know, you say you feel fine now, but like, if you've ever seen that show, anybody have watched that show, This Is Us, where the husband dies from like smoke inhalation, like delayed or whatever. That's all that was going through my head. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm going to have to watch you like a hawk, thinking you're going to just die and stop breathing. So he was like, I'm fine. And I said, you have to get checked or I'm not going to sleep. So he's like, fine. So they called the EMT. The EMT checked him. He was okay. Thank God. And all the animals, eventually what happened was I went over to the fire guy, and I said, with the fireman, and I said, please, can somebody go upstairs now that it's, you know, that the fire is out and it's aired out, can somebody please go upstairs and see if the cats are, if you see cats alive up there. And you know, the top of the barn is like storage, so they go and hide, right? When they get scared, they hear unfamiliar voices, you know, they'll come out for us, but they're barn cats that we feed, right? So, but they're my babies at the same time. So one of them went up, and within like a half an hour, we had found out that he saw one of them. He said, oh, I saw a brown and white one. And I said, oh, that's Citrine. He said, yeah, she was alive and running and hiding. Okay. Then my husband's nephew went up a little while later and found the second cat, and he actually took a video for me, so I saw that he was hiding, but he was just laying there and alive, right? So I said, oh my God, thank God. That's all I cared about was, you know, that whole barn could have gone down. I cared about the animals. And so everything turned out to be okay, but it was a horrifying experience, and it was a stressful experience, and it was an anxiety-producing experience. And then we had to have JCP&L came for the electric company and had to shut off all our electric in the house. Meanwhile, we have 20 people over. Shut off all the electric in the house because they wanted to make sure that they shut off any electricity going to the barn, because what happened was a lot of the electrical wires melted, and there was also some damage to some of the wood. Now, why do I tell you all this? I tell you all this because there is a spiritual perspective to everything, and I want to share with you how I looked at this so that you can maybe apply this to an area of your life where all of a sudden life blows up on you. So the first thing that we did was, oh my gosh, we're going to look for the good. This could have been so much worse. You got the fire out. If you didn't get the fire out, the fire department didn't get there for at least 15, 20 minutes maybe. I can't remember exactly, but it was long enough that whole barn would have gone up. The fire, everybody was here. Everybody took charge. There wasn't that much damage. All the animals were okay. You know, this could have been so much worse. And then we realized that the goat, Merlin, who had surgery, was at an animal hospital. We were going to pick him up. We were talking about picking him up that day on 4th of July. But the vet was like, oh no, I'll keep him, you know, an extra day. He was giving him antibiotic shots or whatever. And so he was like, no, I'm going to keep him. Now, had we picked him up, because of the surgery, we had to separate him from all the other goats. He has to be separated for 2 weeks because they don't want them, you know, goats tend to play and bump heads and all this other stuff, and he needs to heal. So we have to keep him separate. So the vet told us we had to separate him, and if we would have separated him, he would have literally been in that section. He would have been right where that firework went in. I can't even imagine. So, and again, maybe we wouldn't have had the hay stacked up there, but there's hay on the ground, and it would have ignited, and I don't know. I mean, hopefully he would have known enough to run out, but I don't even want to think about it. So that's the other good thing, is thank God we didn't have Merlin back yet, right? So there are so many things that we could look at and say, oh my gosh, this could have been worse. thank God for this, thank God for that. Ryan was okay. He didn't have smoke inhalation damage. The animals were okay. There wasn't that much damage to the barn. It was still standing. Okay, we had to cut the electricity, and we're probably going to have to rewire the barn because the wires are melted. But we focused on, there's so much good that came out of this, right? The second thing is, you know that I teach the universe is always talking to you, right? That's my book. The universe is always talking to you. Everything has a meaning, even if it looks chaotic, even if it looks crazy, even if it doesn't make sense, and even if you cannot find meaning at the time, everything is always happening for a reason. It's always happening for a reason. So, I may find additional meaning down the road. If I do, I will share it, but I will tell you what I immediately thought of. And I spoke to my husband about this. We've been living in this house, I think, for 5 years. The barn has electricity, but it runs on a lot of extension cords. And my husband has said for years, we really need to rewire the electricity in the barn. It's really not great to have those extension cords. God forbid, it could be a fire hazard. We really need to upgrade that electricity. And interestingly enough, out of all the damage, there was a little bit of damage, like some blackening of some of the wood paneling, some of the wood, not wood paneling, but the 2x4s and some of the structure, but nothing that affected the actual structure of the actual barn. The barn is standing. The biggest damage was to the wiring, the electrical wiring. And I said to my husband, this could be the way the universe is saying to us, upgrade that electricity. I said, because God forbid there was a fire that we weren't out there for, that something happened with that electricity that you've been saying that we need to upgrade for years, and it could have happened while we were sleeping. The whole barn could have burned down. The animals could be gone. So maybe this was the universe saying, wake up. The only thing I'm really damaging is the electricity, so that you rewire this barn to prevent something further from happening later. That's what I choose to believe and focus on, because I know there's always a reason, and I know the universe has my back, and I know the universe is constantly talking to me and helping me and guiding me and protecting me. I know it. So there's always something. So that's the first thing that hit me. And I say that, but I promise you there could be more meaning that comes out later on. But as of right now, that's what I believe. And that's how I tend to immediately look at things. I've trained my brain over the years to look at things in a way that looks for the good and knows that there's meaning to everything, even if it's upsetting, even if it's a bad situation, even if things that are happening are negative. I know there's always something, and I look for it, and I trust it. And even if I can't find it, I trust that I will. And I trust that it's happening for a reason. The universe is not out to get me. There's not anything horrible happening that we're being attacked or anything like that. This is literally, there's just messages in it. There's messages in everything. So I wanted to come on here and share that. Of course, the Facebook did not work, but I'm shooting this video just for you guys on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm going to upload it and send it out. So I just wanted to share that, and I just wanted to share that perspective with you, because it's literally how I look at everything. And I know I've come on here and shared other calamities that we've gone through, and it's the same perspective that I take. It's always the same viewpoint. And so I'm just feel like my job here is to share these crazy things with you in hopes that it will help you at some point with anything that you may be going through in your own life. Hopefully not a fire. Hopefully that's just us. But I wanted to just come on here and share it. So basically this is my weekly spirit boost, pre-recorded because Facebook was not cooperating. But hopefully it will be back up and running by next week. And for those of you who are watching this right now it's July 8th. Next week I am launching my pendulum class. For those of you who, I know so many of you have reached out to me on social media saying, when is the class? When is the class? I only teach it once a year. And it's called Unlock the Secrets of the Pendulum the Elevated Way. And I teach you how to use a pendulum to get to make decisions, to find blocks, to tap into your subconscious mind, to clear, to so many different things. And the first 50 people will get a free amethyst elevated existence pendulum, because what I do is I buy all of these amethyst pendulums, as you can see here. I buy all of these amethyst pendulums, and then I personally sit and add these little Om symbols to them. So we have them packaged and ready to go. So the first 50 people who sign up will get that for free, shipped out to you. So I just wanted to let you know that as well. If you're on my list, you will get you'll get the email letting you know that the doors are open. And that is it. I hope you have an amazing and beautiful weekend whenever you are watching this or whenever you are listening to this. And I thank you for being part of my community, for watching this video. Be sure to like it or subscribe to my channel so that you can get all of my weekly spirit boosts. We're actually looking into a way of starting to go live directly onto YouTube as well, so I don't have to upload later. That is coming. And share this video with anybody else who maybe might be going through something, who needs to shift their mindset around it and shift their perspective. Because I find that because I've trained my brain to work this way and to think this way, I can just handle and navigate life with a little bit more grace and a little bit more ease than if I did not handle things this way. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you next time.